Do the music for it, and then post it online, and that'll be your entry into the business. That'll be your example.
All right, so let me go to Shantae. And we deal with a lot of writers and stuff, so I'm skipping up, guys. I'm sorry, but I kind of think this takes care of a lot of other questions and stuff that I see as well. It says, how do you gain effective placements as a songwriter? Many people make a promise to get your music heard, but how do you get your music heard? How do you get your music to the right people so that you can get heard?
Okay. Well, you have to put it out there. It's one thing. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound like, oh yeah, I heard it before. But if your music is good, somebody's gonna hear it. Trust me, that can do something. Even if they can't do what you need them to do, if they just know somebody else that knows somebody else that knows somebody else, it's gonna get in the right hands. So, in general, you know, a lot of people on this chat also have SoundCloud, etc. That's a way. That's a way, but that's one way. You have to put all of your coins out, and you have to put all of your efforts out. Have a SoundCloud, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go out to these conventions. Go out to these events that these PRO, performing rights organizations, have, and have your music ready.
What if you're self-published? You see that? She's asking, what if you're self-published?
Yeah. That's the same, Nicole. Yeah, but that's what you do. You go out regardless if you're self-published. The bottom line is you want your material to be heard. Is that the same question in connection to the first question, or is that something totally different? It might be totally different.
Oh yeah, it could be. I'm not sure if any of you are still experiencing a delay.
Yeah, what is the question though? If you're self-published, I don't want to start taking questions from over here because it's going to get confusing.
Yeah, I definitely.
And we're running short on time.
Yeah, so are you wrapped with that? Cause
yeah, I'm good. It's as a matter of fact, it's just like I said, put your material out there, and someone is going to hear it, and always be ready. Always be ready. That's how you get it heard, just by make sure you're ready when the opportunity happens. A lot of times.
All right, so Landon Johnson, he says, as a music producer, I have networked and made connections, but some circles are reluctant to let new people in, which, you know, it can appear that way sometimes.
Right.
What is a good way to gain trust or valuable connections without overwhelming or bugging them to the point where they lose interest in working with you?
Here's the thing. If they're not interested, don't worry about it. Move on to the next. Don't waste your time.
Don't hang your head on one person.
Well, it's just, and it goes back to what I said in the beginning, is I don't chase. You know what I mean? If they're not interested, move on. I get no's every day. I get no responses from some people too. I get people that don't like what I create. Executives that I have great relationship with, that I've made hit records for. They're not going to like it all the time. So don't feel down on yourself because someone is not, you know, responding back to you, or it's hard to break into that little circle. That shouldn't all your cards should be in that one deck anyway, or eggs shouldn't be in that one basket anyway. So continue to be persistent, but be persistent in a wise way. Know when to back up. How do you know? You know if they're not, you know, responsive. If they're not responding to your to any of your pursuits or your calls or your emails, and they're not responsive, and they got the music.
So Carmi, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I apologize, but she's asking, hold on a second, what about females trying to get into the industry and taking the necessary steps to be taken seriously?
Well, the thing is, talent should supersede everything. Male or female, whatever your race is, whatever anything is, talent should supersede everything. And unfortunately, we live in a world that's very judgmental, and we live in a world that people tend to think a certain way about somebody's ability just because they're female, which is unfair. There are a lot of very successful females in the industry, and not just executives, creative producers and songwriters in the industry. You know, you can't force anybody to recognize what you are or who you are. That's impossible. The thing that I can tell you is that you have to continuously believe who you are and continue to pursue. And if a door slams in your face and if this person says no, if they disrespect you, Go to someone else. Leave that person alone, because you can't force them to see or hear what you got. It ain't easy. Just as it's not easy being a woman, it may not be easy being old, it may not be easy being a minority, but that's no excuse. Talent should supersede everything, and if you're good, somebody's gonna hear that. Shoot, you could fake somebody out. Puff Daddy faked the whole world out when he put just a top frame half face shot of Kelly Price.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
even though everybody knew, okay, she's a pleasantly, you know, a voluptuous woman, you can see, but their whole trick on that is that they didn't want to show her whole body because they thought it would look a certain way. But what happened is people bought into her voice. You know, granted, you could see that she wasn't slim, but still, it wasn't showing, you know, her whole, you know, physique. They bought into her voice. So, man, use an idea. Maybe even just do a cover of your CD, of your examples of your work with dudes on it. And maybe people think it's a dude doing it, and then you're like, man, this is crazy. I want to have a meeting with you. Let your brother answer the phone, acting like it's, whatever you got to do to make it happen, do it. In other words, as long as it's legal.
Cool. Let's see. We got Landon.
Let's get a couple more.
Yeah. Let me see. What advice do you have for a new manager trying to break in? Trying to break a phenomenal artist, trying to meet producers that make music versus making beats, which is hard in Atlanta.
Right. Well, it's so funny because just as you're looking for producers that are creative and musical, there are creative producers that are looking for opportunities to work with artists. So the best advice is to be on chats like this, to be at seminars, to continue to do what you're doing, because I'm sure you're doing a great job in letting people know about your artist, and I'm sure they have some music. But there's a lot of people there. There's close to 100 people, well, 71 people in this chat room right now, and a lot of them might be musician-based producers. So have them submit stuff to you. You know what I'm saying? Put an APB out on some social media network, or go to the concerts and the showcases of different individuals or different organizations that might have music seminars, and meet some other creative entities, and you'd be surprised what you find. Find somebody. A lot of these artists back in the 90s, they developed internally. Boyz II Men, granted, yes, they start off Biv 10, you know, Michael Bivins, but their creative circle was that. You know what I'm saying? TLC Creative Circle was Dallas Austin. They came in. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be initiated by the label. They come in as a unit. You know, and a lot of producers and a lot of artists are doing that nowadays. They have their own producers that they're coming in the door with. They're coming in with their own team. So it can be done, and it's been done successfully in a lot of ways. So I would think that that's a good way to go, besides just continuing to hope that an established producer would say, okay, well, I see this guy's talent and I want to do a deal. That can happen, but don't be discouraged if that doesn't. There are definitely other avenues for you.
Cool. Let's see here.
Real music here. See, these people are Darius Minds. Check them out.
And again, you know, like I said, I encourage you guys to put your shout outs and stuff in the post. I really need to be able to see the questions that people are asking pertaining to whatever question we're talking about at that particular moment. So please, whatever, if you want to do your shout outs and stuff, put it inside of the Facebook post so that we can keep that chat line clear.
What's your Twitter, Andre?
My Twitter is I am manager.
I am manager, and follow him. He will follow you. If you want to know how to get in contact with us, any interns or whatnot, follow him, and he will follow you.
All right. So Mr. Music Reeves is asking, what are some steps for producers to make sure their business is done properly, i.e., contracts, getting paid, getting placements, etc.
So step for producers to make sure their business is done properly is to make sure that you hire the right people to look over your business.